you stare out your window, hoping that you'll come up with some words to say. That's not okay.
G'day friends! Welcome to today's video. It is super windy here. Hey, sun! I'm gonna sketch through the parks today. Nothing crazy like I was doing in Playtest Patreon, like no urban sketching, like full video or anything. But hopefully just some fun, like being at some cafes and, I don't know, sketching whatever I feel like. I'll bring you along for the ride. I think I'll be in both parks today. We're gonna meet up with friends first. Steve's here, and then he's gonna go to work after in the after morning. Why did I want to say that? Later this morning. And once he's at work, I'll head off by myself and yeah, just see what we get up to. Bye.
So keep me in your sight, 'cause I can do this all night. You can call it what you want, I got something else in mind. Oh, if it's you I've been waiting for, I better make it worth my time. So don't you pay them any mind, close your eyes, follow the sound. Keep it coming through the night, we don't need to slow down. Take it all, I'll give you what you need. If you stay with me, I'll love you in the dark. So shine on, don't lose your spark. Show me what you got. Let your colors burn. Let your colors burn now.
Okay, I think that's all I'll get done in Disneyland, to be honest. I'm gonna go head over to Disney California Adventure and just kind of keep sketching until I lose light. Once I've lost light, it's kind of sketch over. As far as the video goes, I can stay and sketch, but I can't really video anything because I don't bring my ring light set up to Disneyland, unfortunately. Yeah. I'm extra, but I'm not that extra. But I'm gonna go do what I just said. I'm so bad with like checking in and vlogging at the same time. I don't like to speak to the camera in front of hundreds and hundreds of people watching. So I hope you're just enjoying the footage. I'll put some nice music on it, I swear. All right, I'll see you inside DCA for some more sketching.
Wanna shake the ground, wanna break away, let loose. I'm tired of waiting, gotta make that move. All the neon signs, now they shout to me and you to write our story. Wanna shape the new. Do you wanna come along with me? Come along with me. Do you wanna? Got a restless mind, and now I won't let go. So let us be crazy before we are cold. You can take us out, your doubts won't hold us down, 'cause we're gonna light up the sky where we go. Oh, oh. Do you wanna come along with me? Come along with me. Do you wanna?
That's it. All the light's gone. I know the light looks like it's still out, but I literally couldn't film probably for longer than 15-20 minutes. So I'm gonna go meet up with my friends again, then I'm gonna go home, edit this footage together. I'm probably not gonna do that today. It's been a good day. Hope you enjoyed it all. I'm sure I'll put in a little chat and flip after this, so see you then. Bye. G'day friends, welcome to the little flip. I'm going to do this super quickly, just basically go through this entire journal as it is so far. I'm actually going to leave a link to this journal in the description box below if you're curious about where to get one. It is currently one of my favorite journals, and I don't say that about a lot of journals. Basically, I give that title to any journal that I'm really drawn to working in at a specific time, and this one just happens to be it. Sorry if you can hear that jingle jangle, it's the cat. Bianca, are you right? Okay, here we go. It's a Wally journal. Now, I hate space, but I'll make an exception for Wally. I've watercolored the front inside cover just to kind of remember what this journal came about for. If you don't know, back in January, I went and attended Art Journaling the Magic in Disneyland. Just for a couple of days, I just kind of popped in, saw what it was all about, had a bit of a demo, met really, really amazing people, and I'm currently just waiting to go back to another one, to be honest. I loved Art Journaling the Magic. I love everything about it, and hopefully you'll see me pop up at another one later in the year. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Anyway, so this is what that was for, just some watercolor. I tried to draw a bit of a self-portrait, but I think it was very gratuitous on my part, and some little Wally motifs. I've got the little Wally hat. I actually own these Mickey ears, the Wally ones. I put a little Eve up the top. She's got little Mickey ears on too, and the boot with the little leaf motif. Thought that was curious. Next page, I'm giving you a bit of up house realness and some Tokyo Disney Resort. If you don't know, there's a Tokyo Disney Resort in Japan. There is a park called Tokyo Disney Sea, which is the only one like it in the world, and there's a mermaid lagoon there, which is just so incredible. I'm so obsessed. I'm actually going back to Japan next month in April, and there'll be a whole travel journaling workshop on that, hitting my classroom on Teachable coming soon. Well, I guess I've got to go and have the holiday first, but I'm super excited for that. I used to live and work in Tokyo, and it's a big part of my story. I don't know why I'm getting that far into it. We really don't need to go that far. But basically some watercolor. I just masked off a piece of this page and did a bit of urban watercoloring. I usually do some urban sketching, and it's very loose and sketchy. This one I kind of tried to just watercolor the whole thing, and I really like how that turned out. Got a few blank pages here. What I love most about this journal is, funnily enough, the deckled edges. The only issue I've ever had with it, and I think it's so to be expected for a handmade journal, especially with such robust watercolor paper in here, sometimes it is really hard to get it to lay flat, but I feel like the more that you use it, the easier it does become to separate those pages like that. So that was kind of like the only thing that I would mention is a bit of a downside, but it's, I mean, could you really even call it that? I thought I just might mention it. Because it might upset some people. It doesn't upset me, but I just thought to say something. Having said that, it is very well bound. Like, this is look at those signatures. They are in there. They are not going anywhere. So, and I actually really love the watercolor paper. It's so nice to have a journal that is first and foremost hardcover, like these little golden books that are turned into these journals. It's a hardcover, so it feels really sturdy. The size is actually really unique as well. It's kind of like an A5 size. This is a 5x7 sheet of paper. You can see that it's shorter and wider. And this is an A5 journal, which you can see is more or less a 5x7 size. So you're working with an almost square spread, which is really cute for like panoramic vision. But I do really like the size of it. And I'll probably turn the page so you're not looking at a blank page for any longer. We get to the next one. This is something that I started but I didn't finish. I was going to build Disneyland and Disney California Adventure into the one spread, but you can see I got very fussy about the details on this one, and it's probably why I gave up on that so quickly. This is from the actual footage you just saw. I was sitting over by the Dumbo, flying Dumbo things, and I saw this little guy on top of the Pinocchio. It was over in Pinocchio Village somewhere. But I thought it was just really cute, and I thought it was a nice little way to pop him out of the bottom there. Just a bit of journaling about the day. On this spread, I actually did these two on that day as well. This is the It's a Small World, just that front center section. And this is one of the pagodas over in Toontown. Doesn't actually look like that. I took some artistic liberties, but I think that's what art is all about, right? I just wanted to practice, you know, structures and you drawing buildings and elements like that. I never really do that. So to be in a place where I'm super inspired to do it, I just kind of run with it. And then I used all this space to journal in. Put some photos of Art Journaling the Magic back in January. I don't mind that, you know, this was done more recently and these photos are from January. I think it all serves the purpose of, you know, getting my expressions out there, getting my memories down and documented in a really fun way. And we've just got some really beautiful watercolor in the background. These are some stickers that Steve actually picked up for me at the Pixar Animation Studios, which I think is really, really fun. And I've just got some washi tape down here. These are all from Japan, these washi tapes. Next page, I've got some painting. If you watch my painting my sketch planner video coming out pretty soon, I wouldn't say soon, I think it's coming out in a couple of weeks, but this is an idea I was playing with late at night, and it kind of stems off one of the Finding Inspiration videos that I put on my channel earlier in the year with the Disney Mid-Century coffee table book that I like, and painting on dark backgrounds. So I was just using that, and this idea, I didn't actually do this at the park, but it came from an idea that I did at the park, so I guess that's why I'm mentioning it. I like that, you know, even though I might not have all my acrylics there, I know that there's something that I did that day that I could possibly reinterpret and go and, you know, reiterate a different way. And I think those kind of creative frenzies that happen. I think that's what's super great to chase down, and that's why I just don't discount, you know, even a simple sketch. It might not look like much to begin with, but there might be an idea from that that takes me on a 3-month journey to find something completely new that I like to do. So not much of a painter, but I am finding a really interesting love for this. I think it looks a bit retro Mickey Mouse, like, you know, when they used to make the, you know, back in the day when they would make the actual sculpted characters for the movie premieres and stuff, and they kind of looked a little wonky. Wonky, you know, in that sense. I think this is what that kind of reminds me of, but also slash Times Square Mickey Mouse, you know, the $5 per photo. It's giving me all of those kinds of feelings, but I actually truly love it. So really into that, and I've been playing a lot with this style of painting, which is super interesting. I don't know where that came from. This I did back at Art Journaling the Magic. We did this sketch walk. We were kind of, you know, I won't give it all away, just in case you ever go to one, and I want you to be surprised by it. But I really, really loved this. And Brittany gave me this Koh-i-Noor, I think that's how you say it, multicolored pencil, which I never thought I would enjoy, but it actually came in super great for this spread. And I need to get that out again because I had some fun with that. But I do really like this spread as well. I guess I like all the spreads in here. That's why I like to keep working in it. It's just like one of those successful journals, you know, when you're just feeling good about it. This was a bit of gouache painting, a bit of acrylic and gouache. Just making a little tea set. This is very Alice in Wonderland. The, you know, in the golden afternoon, all those really nasty flowers, which I love. And, you know, this based off of the iconic teacup ride in the park. This was something that, you know, from this idea kind of took into what I demoed at the park. And I do believe I've painted over the piece I did at the park. Ladies, don't get upset at me. I just didn't like the demo piece. You know, I actually did the whole demo upside down. I think I've explained this before in a video, but I didn't love how it turned out. And I already had this in there, so I thought, you know what, paint over it. This will probably eventually get painted over as well. But I like those kind of transformations, those like page renovations. If you're in Playtest Patreon last year, you'll have remembered that page renovations video where I was just going ape on all of those pages I didn't like in my journal. And now I really love them because I've, you know, covered over them. And this is what I actually covered over it with. Taking the same style of painting that I was looking at here, I applied it to this spread of Miguel, and I love this. This is kind of exactly how I wanted it to turn out. It's not really a style that I work in very often. It's very simplistic, but it's super textured, and I don't know, I just found so much success with this for, you know, when you have it in your head and you just want to see it. I really, really felt like that, and I love it. So I'm actually going to dedicate this page to my gran, who has passed away, and like Miguel has his little Mama Coco in the frame, and he's got his little marigolds for the ofrenda. I'm going to put a little ode to my gran here. I'm actually trying to find, I know I've got some photos that I want to put in there, but I actually want to find one of the handwritten notes. Every time I used to go away on a contract, or like I'd leave home for 8 months or something to go and work, and I'd come back, just as I was going away, my gran would slip in these little notes and her favorite Bible verses. So I'm going to try and find one of those. Ooh, listen to me get emotional. I think that's why most people love this movie. I don't know. It's just, I mean, nothing hits you harder than some of those scenes in Coco, but I'm going to try and find one of those. Ooh, I've hit the camera. I'm really losing it right now. I'm going to try and find one of those little Bible quotes that she put in there, or just one of her messages. I do think I have them actually glued down in a bigger journal from home, but I'm going to rip that out and put it in here. And I don't mind doing that either. I think that sometimes we can get a little caught up in, well, you know, that lives there now, so that can't move. Absolutely not. If you want to take something from somewhere and give it new life somewhere else, if you think it belongs somewhere else, it suddenly has a new home somewhere else, just pretend that the lease is up in that journal and you're moving into this new home. So yeah, that's what I'm planning to do with that, but I just love that. And these are literally, all of this was the Target handmade modern paint. $2 a tube. I've even got some of them here because I was playing with them more recently. I shouldn't say tube. What are these? Little tubs, little pots? $2 a pot. They are so great. So many great colors. Really fun color names as well. But yeah, that's that for that. This was a page that I was actually testing some fluorescent watercolors from Art Journaling the Magic. We were all kind of doing a bit of a supply share and swap, and really got me going. I do enjoy a good supply share and swap, and just kind of made this page out of it. It's kind of hodgepodge and thrown together, but I'm not mad at it. And I think this black and white really complements this Cruella de Vil. She's a very 1920s Cruella de Vil that I've got going on over here. This is actually another one of these handmade modern paints. This one's called Warm Metal, and it is stun Wario. Literally so gorgina, I could stare at that all day. And I actually just colored this in, like, I mean, not even colored, I used an ink wash over this. I drew this and I just painted around the whole outside. So literally, I mean, sometimes a background doesn't need to have a lot in it. It can just be a metallic surface. I think it provides a really super great contrast, especially if you're going to do stuff in black and white. So there's a top tip for you, I guess. Here is, well, something I tried to erase there. If you can see it, I don't know, good luck to you, but it was a bad illustration that I didn't want to see anymore. I don't typically erase though, so it must have been a really off day for me. And this is something that if you're in Whimsical Illustration, the online course, you will have seen this pop up before. Just practicing a lot of expressions there, I really do like that. This was a page that I did during the vlog as well. I was over in Toontown looking at some really friendly little children that were over there. Sorry if this is one of your kids and you recognize who this is. I think they're very nondescript. I didn't try to go too detailed, but I just wanted to capture a range of the emotions. I was sitting literally right next to an ice cream parlor, so it was kind of funny to me to capture kids that were so excited about it and kids that were so mad at the day, and then there were kids that, like this little baby asleep, like, I don't know, it's truly so interesting to be in Disneyland and just people watch. You see a cross-section of cultures from literal... Sorry for that little jump cut there. My iPhone apparently ran out of storage, so that's fun. I was just trying to say that if you haven't ever people watched in Disneyland, I know some people don't really get the time and opportunity to do that. I don't think anyone would pay that amount of money just to go and people watch, but it is truly fascinating to people watch in Disneyland or a Disney park because so many corners of the world come to visit, and it is truly a cross-section of the, I mean, personally, I feel like the entire planet all in one place, and it's just fascinating to watch. Everyone exists there pretty peacefully, so maybe that's why I love it so much, I'm not sure. Anyway, some more blank pages. This is what I was doing at the park over in Disney's California Adventure, and it kind of ties into a few things here, actually. This idea of these peaks on these character heads that I kept noticing is essentially what happened with this months and months and months ago. And it's also this idea that I was playing with that I wanted to paint here. So I tried to take inspiration from this Mickey Mouse here. It didn't quite translate, but because I kind of liked him a little more. He looks like that, is it Mortimer Mouse? Wow, that's a lot to say. Mortimer Mouse. I didn't know whether to say it with an American accent or Australian accent. I think I just got lost halfway between. Anyway, playing with that and basically just trying to reinterpret Mickey's head a bunch of different ways and see just how different they all look. And it looks super weird to me. Like, it was the same, every single head was approached the same way. Every eye is the same, every ear is the same, every face is the same, like every single thing was the same, but they look completely different. And I thought that was a really fun exercise, actually. Some of these look like Japanese characters that actually exist, and I think that's, you know, kind of, I don't know, it just reminds you how derivative works are and how nothing ever is essentially completely fresh and new. And I love that because I think it just keeps me open to trying everything and more excited to play. I don't love to sit down and be told, like, you know, make something that no one's ever seen before. That just seems so stifling. And a lot of the time that's not fun. So I really love this. And, you know, it's not often I feel like that I do fan art of anything, but Disney is something that I will always try to reinterpret because, you know, it itself is created of hundreds and at this point probably thousands of different illustrators and animators and lighting designers, and there's so many different creative hands that go into these Disney characters and movies and concepts and merchandising and parks and details. And you know, at this point, Disney itself is so derivative of what it used to be once upon a time when it was just a few characters. So I don't know, I think that keeps me really open to all of that, and this was a really fun exercise to look at. I think sometimes it's a little weird. I guess I'll show you the last thing before I move on to my tangent, but I did the little seagulls? Pelicans? I think they're seagulls. They're seagulls from Finding Nemo. I think it makes me think they're pelicans because I made their beaks really long, and it's just dawned on me now that those are pelican beaks. Are they pelicans? I should have done my research before I clicked record. It's fine. I'm sure someone will tell me in the comments. And that's it. That's literally everything else. Back of the journal. I'm you know, nowhere near finished this, and that excites me because every time I go to Disney, I'll just take this and keep working on it. And there's no real rush to finish it. I think it comes together super organically. Everything is inspired by something completely different. Sometimes the works are derivative of each other. Sometimes it's more about a process. Sometimes it's more about a medium. Sometimes it's more about a character. Sometimes, you know, it's just about getting in there and having fun and scribbling on a page. So I guess I'll leave you with that. I'm going to turn to my favorite page at the moment, just because it's really sentimental. As I get onto a touch of a tangent, the thing that I noticed really different about doing it this time, I've done this video, not this particular video, but I've been in the parks urban sketching last year in Playtest Patreon. I went and did urban sketching in California Adventure. And then in the free online workshop, Merry Mixed Media for Christmas last year, I actually went into Disneyland and did a bit of a Christmas journaling kind of a thing. I never tried to attack the day with any real game plan other than to go and find some creative inspiration and just to let it lead me into whatever I want to do, which is kind of the best way I see working at it, because you don't feel like you have to achieve anything specific. You know, all those expectations kind of set you up for a bit of a nasty fall if you don't get there properly, or, you know, the way you think you're going to get there. And I just, you know, I'm already having a great time at Disney. I don't want to pressure myself like that. As it is, I went on the Incredicoaster halfway through the day. So, you know, there was a big shot of adrenaline that came in when I was doing this page right here. And I just try to have a fun time. The difference between this time and the other 2 times I went was that this was the first time I've done it completely by myself. And it was really interesting to do that because I noticed that the process was a little different. It was really, really difficult to set up in the sense that I have a little, like kind of like an octopus leg tripod where it like grabs onto things. At one point I had it sitting on top of a Coca-Cola bottle, like it was wrapped around the Coca-Cola bottle and my phone was pointing down at the table and I'm trying to draw on a really weird angle. You know, a lot of it's smoke and mirrors. It seems like a really great little setup and it's like, oh yeah, you found a place to film at Disneyland. Sometimes that camera is hanging on for dear life on a ledge that it shouldn't be on. But, you know, I do it in an effort to make sure that I can bring you along for the day and really capture some of what I love about the experience. But this time was a little more difficult because I was by myself. I do actually love this video, probably one of the best, because I don't know, I just managed to capture a little more of the actual day, I guess. And even though I didn't feel like I did a lot, we were with friends in the start of the day, and then I kind of went off by myself, and then I met back up with friends and then went home. It wasn't even a full day. But being by myself also opened me up to a lot more of a difficult time dealing with people. And I am a people person. Like, it's not, I don't have a problem being around people. I don't really have a problem talking to people, people I don't know. I've always kind of worked in a service industry, so it's never been a problem. I think the difference is that when you're illustrating or painting in a random place, people start to look at you a little funny, and most of the time they just want to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. It's a little hard to engage like that when you're filming something, and I think looking over and seeing someone paint and draw is one thing, but looking over and seeing them, you know, with a tripod and a little phone attached to it and filming down from a weird angle and drawing something really obscure like the, you know, like these Mickey heads or something, people really question why you're there, and sometimes I feel the need to explain what I'm doing to every single person that looks, but this time it was a little harder because it was just me. Like, whereas in the past, Steve might have turned around and said, oh, we're filming for, you know, we're making some YouTube video or making a class video or something. He might say something if we're in public, but when it's just yourself, I did notice that it was a little harder to deal with, and I think just because I couldn't, you know, actively stay in that moment and also speak to people, I really think it had a lot to do with the filming. I don't think I've sketched before without a camera. I've actually not had that problem. So, and when I've been with other people, there's been a lot of other things going on, you know, people don't feel the need to approach. But I also got this weird thing where I had a lot of people, and not a lot, I shouldn't say a lot, but kind of disrespecting my personal space in that moment. But really, you know, I mean, Disneyland is crowded as it is, but it's one thing to come up to someone like at a table and, you know, hover over them and speak about me as if I can't hear you. It was just a little weird, and it kind of threw me off a couple of times because I wanted to, you know, kind of engage and say, hey, how you going? And whatever. But like, you know, some parents would send their kids up and, you know, ask if they can take some pencils back to their table. And it's difficult because I do take, you know, some good quality stuff. I don't really want to lose it. And I always want kids to have a play and enjoy themselves. Sometimes I've even had children draw in the journals. If you're at Merry Mixed Media, if you're remembering over when we went to the Haunted Mansion, we actually had 2 kids from Mexico that came over and just started drawing in the journal. And it was fantastic. Like, I love that. I love to see kids getting involved like that. This was a little different in the sense that, you know, they wanted to kind of take it away and as if I was kind of offering a service. And now, mind you, I wasn't dressed like a cast member or anything, so I don't think I looked like I was hosting an event or something. But also, you know, with the camera rolling, it seemed kind of obvious that I was doing something, but I don't know, it just got a little weird. And at one point, you know, people kind of, not people, but there are 2 people that kind of requested that I draw things for their kids. And it just gets a little tough at that point when you're trying to work and, you know, achieve something specific. Like, I didn't want to stop my video and then lose all the lights so that I could give people caricatures, because that really wasn't what I was there for. But at the same time, you can't hold a sign up and say, you know, filming in progress, stay away from this area that's public space and you paid so much money to be here. So I think what I'm kind of saying is, if you are urban sketching, these are kind of things that I have personally encountered over time, and I notice that there's a different experience every time I go. So my point being, don't actually be turned off by any of it. Most of the time, people just want to get involved. They want to know what you're doing. They want to be a part of the fun that you're having. If you can make that happen in a way for somebody, I think you should definitely take that opportunity to connect and share what you know. And then if there are other times, just be aware that, you know, sometimes people approach you and people might want to, you know, want you to give them something or want you to draw them something, and it's okay to say, oh, you know, I'm busy, but, you know, in 20 minutes, like, if I'm finished, like, you know, we'll just hang around, we can have a chat. And I think it's also a really good way to meet people as well. So just putting my 2 cents out there. I know it seemed like I was coming from a bit of a salty place with some of that stuff, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I've heard a lot of feedback about urban sketching before, and a lot of what turns people off is that fear of the engagement from people that don't really know what's going on. And I just wanted to say that, you know, even me, who goes in there with a camera and a bunch of stuff and looks like a crazy person when I'm doing it, it happens to all of us. And I think, you know, I don't even handle it the best of times. Like, you know, I don't even handle it perfectly always. So I don't think you should stress yourself to try and tackle that either. Just let each situation happen as it comes, and I think you'll be fine as long as you're out there to have some fun and be inspired. Hopefully that will be the most positive takeaway from the day. But I do encourage you to get out there and into a, you know, a stimulating space. Doesn't have to be Disneyland. In fact, for most people it probably won't be. That's why I like to bring you along for these videos. But if it is somewhere like a coffee shop that you love being in, or an art gallery, or sitting in a park somewhere, or even at the beach, anywhere that you can just be stimulated by some of that stuff, I think it is a great way to get you out of your own head and your own space for a second. And I definitely encourage doing it. Anyway, I said this was going to be quick. It is so long by now. Hope you enjoyed the flip. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be back again next week for another YouTube video. Until then, bye!